Hi, Chris Robson, area agronomist with Pioneer Hybrid in the Deep Southwest. We were planning a plot this morning, and interesting, we had a conversation around how to measure seed depth. The good news is that all people at the plot were in the same agreement on the proper depth, somewhere in that 2-inch neighborhood, 1.75 to 2.25 inch, typically erring on the side of being too deep versus too shallow. I know there's lots of nuance that goes into that depending on soil moisture, planting conditions, weather, time of year, all that kind of stuff, right? But in general, shooting for that kind of 2-inch mark. But what we did differ on is how you measure that 2-inch seeding depth. The farmer tended to take it more from, trying to keep that soil level on top exactly as it was planted and digging down. I tend to prefer to get rid of some of that loose soil, kind of get to where it's a little bit firmer, measure from there. I'm not saying necessarily what's right or what's wrong, but my thinking is that I wanted to get rid of some of that loose soil because that's going to settle out over time and influence our seeding depth from there. But more importantly, what I want to do is kind of come back in a couple of weeks and look at germination depth. So we think we hit our 2-inch planting depth. But more importantly, I want to look at where the seed germinates, because that ultimately is going to have a big influence on where our brace roots form, where our nodal roots form, and have a big impact on our root structure, overall plant standability, etc. as kind of time goes forward. So this video is as much about encouraging you to come back and look at, seeding depth versus germination depth, and how did you end up, if you thought you planted at 2 inches, but your germination depth is only at 1.5 inches, that definitely plays a factor. And then B, kind of posing the question, how do you measure soil depth? Certainly curious on the feedback and what is the correct or best way to achieve that. Happy planting, take care.